Miles Spencer wrote of Tom Yankus, "Imagine the power of good fundamentals and leadership lessons when multiplied by the thousands." Tom, thank you so much for joining us today, and I'm joined by Tom Yankus out here on the bandstand. And Tom, you have a long history in baseball, coaching and playing. When did you first fall in love with the game of baseball?
Probably when I was bat boy for one of the high school teams in Wallingford, Connecticut. And I saw the commitment these guys had, and it made me understand that, well, when I get their age, I'll be able to help out and become a decent player. I mean, I was a wild left-handed pitcher, so I don't know if decent even comes into it, but it intrigued me. And then when I was paid to play, I was mystified that everyone would want to pay me to throw a ball around. It was so exciting. But yeah, it goes way back when I was a bat boy.
You played here in Orleans, and you played for Harwich. And how does the league that you played for back then compare to the league that you watch every night today?
Well, in those days, when I first started, it was made up of town players with some outsiders. I think each team was allowed to have 3 outside players, and I was one of them for Orleans. And the caliber of play wasn't even close to what it is now. I mean, every position now has someone who excelled in college, and sometimes beyond excelling, they were just so good they were training for the big leagues. We weren't training for the big leagues at all, and you know, these guys who were lifting weights and getting in at night, we didn't lift weights. We didn't get in at night. We were just have fun, and and we had a construction job during the day or a police officer job, which I had for a while, and yeah, it was different, more casual. This is so well organized now. I sit here and I see the interns, and I see the number of bat boys and bat girls, and you know, we never had anyone interview anyone in those days.
Now, you said you were a cop. Were there any funny arrest stories that you made up here on the Cape?
No, I was. I wouldn't call myself a good police. I was a rent-a-cop, summer police officer, and I'd drive the cruiser around, and I'd always have an older guy with me, with a sergeant or something. And then for a couple of hours, the sergeant would be changing shifts with someone else, so I'd have the cruiser to myself. And I used to drive around and turn on the light just to play. And I turned the radio down because I didn't want any trouble. I just wanted to drive around town. No, I can't say I was the best cop in the world, but I enjoyed the job. And it's so easy to abuse your position when you're wearing a uniform. And I wouldn't carry a gun because they gave me an empty holster. I kept candy bars in it. I wasn't carrying a gun, but still, you have a whistle, you have a hat, dark glasses, and you can pull over anyone you want. I used to try to meet people that way.
Yeah, and you talk about you driving around in that police car a couple years down the line. In your book, Montana Summer, I read that you drove the bus for the Yankees minor league team that you played for, the Missoula Timberjacks. How were you able to balance playing and driving the bus?
It was difficult because the shortest trip was 200 miles, and the longest was 600, and we had to do it in one bounce. You're not going to stay overnight anywhere, so you go from Missoula to Salt Lake City, and then you come into relief. As I mentioned in the book, the Yankees sent their cross-checker to watch me pitch, and I get knocked around. I was exhausted. I mean, there was no power steering in those days, no air conditioning, no power anything, and I was just washed out. Every ball I threw, they hit right back, and I got out of the innings, luckily, but the scout had to write what he saw, and so I didn't move up very fast. I didn't move up at all.
Unfortunately, I guess you couldn't tell him that you had a long night driving the entire team, getting them where they had to go. And also, you told a couple of stories about how you would pick girls up in the bus, take them on some dates. What did they think of the bus?
The bus was pretty beat up. As I mentioned, it had jagged cracks across the windshield, and no one ever cleaned it, so it had chews on the floor, used up chews on the floor, and empty cans, and I was driving with no shirt on, of course, in the middle of summer, no air conditioning. They didn't like the bus that much when I stopped at the corner and said, "Hey, jump in. Downtown bus? Yeah, hurry up. Got a schedule to make." And they'd look around and guys are whistling and stomping, and we let them off a couple blocks down. They probably never got over it. Traumatic experience.
Too funny. I don't know what I would think if someone pulled over on a bus and asked me to hop in.
I wouldn't hop in. In those days, there were a lot of naive people around. Be like, you wouldn't have. You would have said, "What? Get out of here."
Different day and age. And now, after your playing career was over, you came back to the Cape League, and you coached. You coached Orleans. You were the field manager and the pitching coach, coaching a ton of great major leaguers. And what lessons from your days of playing in the minor leagues did you bring back to coaching?
I think patience. That was one of the things I tried to instill in the players, especially the pitchers. You have a bad day, don't worry about it. What I never wanted to do was look panicked when I went out to talk to a pitcher, because my college coach, Bobby Coombs, was a major league, ex-major league. He would come out and as calmly as anyone would just say, "Okay, Tommy, remember now you're gonna put this ball in the outside corner on the knees and then come inside. Or remember the changeup. 2 in a row is okay." So he was so calm. And coaching high school ball, I went out. I never looked as though I was excited. Bases loaded, 3-0 count. Didn't bother me, so the pitcher I hoped wouldn't be bothered either. So patience was one of the big things, and the hard work. Getting in shape, staying in shape. The long season takes its toll, and I try to get them ready for that.
Now, just about every stop you make, you're honored, whether it was here, the pitchers, their awards named after you at the end of the summer, or your high school where you taught and coached Choate High School. And what lessons do you teach that leave such a lasting impression on thousands and thousands of both students and athletes?
I try to put humor into everything. It seems to me that everyone's too serious about it. Even this game, you're on your way up. You're going to go to the big leagues maybe someday. Not when I was playing. We didn't have many thoughts about that. We thought that was far, far away. But these guys here have such a great chance. And I tried to give them the idea that you have to take care of yourself, take care of your health, take care of everything, but love it. You have to love going out to the field. I watched some of the pro teams in Connecticut, a couple of AA teams, and I watched the guys going through the motions, and I'm thinking, this is not going to last forever. You'll have a career that may go 10 years if you're lucky. Not going to last forever. Enjoy each moment and have fun with it. They look like they're dragging. We used to play a night game out in Missoula. Get through at 11, jump on a bus, head for Great Falls. Have to be on the field at 10 o'clock for a doubleheader the next day, and it's 95 degrees. And you say, "Oh, why do I do this?" But then you think, everyone would want to be doing what you're doing. Everyone would want to be doing it. And why are you feeling sorry for yourself?
Yeah, well, of course, baseball, just such a fun sport. And one final question, how does the Eldridge Park that we're sitting at today kind of change or stay the same versus the one that you played at?
Well, home plate was where left field is now. And we had a snow fence that went around the outfield. And snow fences are dangerous because they're little shards sticking up where a piece of snow fence cracked and there's something like a sword sticking up out of the ground. And you go for a fly ball and you hit that and you're in the hospital for a week. and it was a sandy field. I mean, this is so well cared for. No one ever drove a tractor around to smooth out the infield. It's full of stones. But it was so sandy, and I couldn't get the guy who was in charge of fields to let me use a hose. He didn't want to wet it down. He didn't want to give me a hose. He needed it for something else. And they cut the grass maybe every couple of weeks. The weeds are coming up. I'm saying, really, this is it? This is the best we can do? And then when they turned it around to its present situation, and they put the lights in, I remember the first night we were playing YD when the lights came in. They turned them on, and I said, how much closer to heaven can I ever get? This is wonderful. Because when I was coaching earlier, we had so many tie games with no lights, just tie game after tie. I hold the record for 25 tie games in my career as a manager. The next guy has 9. And I said to myself, when I saw the total, I didn't even know it was 25 until it came out in one of the booklets. How did that happen? Why couldn't we get someone to score a run? Preferably us.
Funny that you hold the record for ties, because everything I've read about you, it's not about winning and losing. It's about the character, and it's about enjoying the game, loving the game, and having a lot of fun. So, Tom, thank you so much for joining me today. I really enjoyed talking to you. I really enjoyed reading your book, and I'm just very grateful to have the opportunity to talk with you.
And you asked some good questions. You make me think. I tried to do that in class with the English kids, try to make them think. And you had good searching questions. And you didn't prepare me either. You didn't say, I'm going to ask you this.
Gotta catch you off guard. Yeah. Get the true Tom Yankus. Well, thank you so much, Tom. Really enjoyed it.